The Silk Report.
As smooth as silk.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be in the world. Wherever you are, the French Open third day, and therefore first round, despite the weather's best efforts, is at an end. And your favourite player may be in or may be out. If your favourite player happens to be Stefanos Tsitsipas, your player is still in the game. But it was far from comfortable. In fact, to be honest with you, I'm sure you were quite concerned about whether they would be continuing in the tournament, bearing in mind how the first two sets played out. Perhaps you had some confidence in terms of how things were with Musetti last year and how your play was misfiring, but on the key moments perhaps was misfiring, but you knew that they had that capabilities because Tsitsipas is one of these guys who, is it a bit too cliche to say he's a confidence player? Give me your thoughts in the live chat. Make sure you click a like, by the way, and subscribe, something I've barely mentioned the last few days. But let me know what you think about Tsitsipas tonight. Does that make you more confident, the fact that he went through in 5 sets, or does it make you less confident regarding his chances? I would say less confident regarding his chance. Listen, that half of the draw, which has Tsitsipas, Ruud, Medvedev, and Sinner, all the guys that pretty much play today, unsurprisingly, is the half of the draw that seems favourable. So quite possibly he'll get to the final. But to be honest with you, Tsitsipas's clay court season this year hasn't really filled me with the same level of confidence as it did last year. Last year, there seemed to be an upward trajectory that finished pretty much at 2 sets to love up in the final against Djokovic. And to be honest with you, his career trajectory hasn't recovered since then. Anyway, that aside, let's go back to the match. Riley Opelka there tweeting that Tsitsi has the best forehand in the world. Yeah, perhaps. But it didn't look great for 2.5 sets, put it that way. Did you all, though, have the same feeling that I had regarding both Musetti on one side of the fence and also Tsitsipas on the other? That there was just going to be a moment when it would click. And Tsitsipas did say in his interview afterwards that there was a confidence issue. There was an attitude change he spoke of. And I think the two are related. I don't want to get too harsh on him by talking about that he had a bad attitude. I'm not saying that. But I do think that, did you not just see the venom that he was hitting the racket with and hitting the ball with as the match progressed and as he sensed blood, as he sensed Musetti, who again, unfortunately for him, fell in 5 sets to one of the best players on the planet after leading 2 sets to love on Philippe Chatrier. I mean, the parallels are insane compared to a year ago, albeit the round was slightly different. How he was 2 sets to love up against Djokovic and he just sort of fell apart. Physically, I think, as much as anything else, although perhaps mentally. I think today was a bit more mental. Physically, at least, he seemed to be a bit more in shape. Let me know what you think in the live chat. I'm now going to have a quick look at some of your comments. Hi, Kathy. Nice to say hello. Everyone's favourite bedtime story read. Oh, well. So Son of Robin Records, a.k.a. Ben, is referring, I think, to some comments about my pajamas. I'll let you decide in the chat as to whether you think I'm wearing my pajamas today. All I'll say is if these were my pajamas, they would certainly be Wimbledon-esque. Jared there saying he needs some silkiness right now. I don't know if that's a PJ relation at all. Thomas Rowley, late night silk. Good test for Tsitsipas. Hopefully he can rally from here. Listen, players do go close to going out. Players do, get away with it by the skin of their teeth. We've seen it with Djokovic. We've seen it with Nadal in Australia this year many, many times, and they pull through. The thing is, though, with Tsitsipas is there's no body of work and evidence that goes, okay, you come through, you've done well, you move on, and then you go and win a slam. We've seen it before with some of these other guys. With Tsitsipas in the first round, concerned. I would be concerned if I was a Tsitsipas fan, as I would be if I was a Felix fan, just like he was the other day in with the fifth set win with the win that he had. So yeah, I'm also concerned. Not then you throw in another concern, which is Tsitsipas's clay court form. I know he won Monte Carlo, but Monte Carlo, the beginning of the clay court season, and with a Nadal absent, and with a Djokovic a long way from his best, and Alcaraz as well, losing to Korda in that tournament. I don't know. I just see that. Son of Robin Records, Wimbledon Bajana is my favorite. Thank you very much. Kathy, they're saying Musetti held up physically until the fifth set. Mentally, he tapped out. I think it was more mental today. Perhaps physical things can also be related, but to be honest with you, Musetti, let's talk about Musetti, okay? Before we talk about other things and prospects for the rest of the tournament. Musetti's talent is very high, off the charts. He has an immense ability, and for sure, talent-wise, I don't think this is insane. I'm not putting my neck on the line here by saying he's a potential top 5 in the world. Physically, mentally, really, don't know is the big question. I know he's 19 or 20, and someone will pick me up. Hi, Zoltan there. That's nice to have you on board. Musetti was physically in physical pain at the end. Yeah, perhaps. But this is 5-set tennis now. We're at the French Open. This is none of your ATP 250, 500 or Masters 1000 stuff. You know, we're in the thick end of stuff. We've got 7 matches, 5-set matches, and that's why it's 2,000 points, unless you're at Wimbledon, on the line. And that's why there's the prestige. That's why we talk about the slam rights. That's why we talk about the majors. That's why we talk about the Grand Slams. So Capricorn BG, they're saying Tsitsipas themed PJs. Yeah, was he? Do you think his outfit looked PJ-esque? I'm not sure. I'm not so keen on this Adidas outfit that they have at the French Open this year, but let me know what you think in the chat. I don't want to, but every comment is about pajamas tonight. It seems to be more about pajamas than the tennis. I'm more than happy to do a pajama report, perhaps at some point in the future, particularly if you give me 100 likes. I'll consider doing a separate pajama report, but we'll come to that later. So Musetti, give me some questions. Give me some thoughts on him. We'll come to Tsitsipas in a second, but I think there's something which is, by the way, is prevalent in Shapovalov, and we'll come to him shortly. Perhaps it's prevalent as well in Sinner. Perhaps it's prevalent in Zverev too. All of these pretenders, when it comes to these slams and when it comes to best of 5 sets, there's something missing. Will it ever be there? You know, players like one or two Frenchmen, which we'll be coming to in a minute. Will it ever be there? I'm not sure. Am I jumping the gun? Am I getting too excited? One thing it seems like I'm not getting too excited about is about the Adidas clay shirts. I thought they were joking when I saw the Adidas clay shirts, says Big Zav. Yeah, not a fan, but I'm all for it. But there's something prison-esque, dare I say it. And let's hope that Tsitsipas can break free from the shackles that he seems to have been suffering from today. And by the way, just regarding the match and how it played out, I thought, did you not all think at 2.5 sets, as soon as Tsitsipas broke? In fact, I would even say during the second set, when our good friend Musetti was a double break up and potentially bageling Tsitsipas, last year's finalist. He was potentially bageling. He was 4-love up, and he had a break point, to make it 5-love. I was basically doing this with my Mouratoglou hat, and it was looking in big trouble, and we'll be coming to two other Mouratoglou protégés shortly. But I thought that it was looking dodgy. But then To be honest with you, there was a moment during that second set when he got the break back and he was very close to getting it back on serve that made me think, okay, the momentum has changed. And although Musetti managed to squeeze it out, then the confidence came. And I saw one or two former tennis players saying afterwards, you might be saying to yourself, why are you saying former tennis players? Why not say who they are? Well, because my pronunciation of Correcha, and he's a Spanish dude, by the way, is not great. But he was basically saying, and you know who I mean, a former French Open finalist, he was basically saying there was a switch. And it doesn't necessarily apply entirely to attitude. It doesn't necessarily mean he was being lazy, but there was a switch. And now it's like, it's now or never. And suddenly from that moment on, Tsitsipas never looked back. And he also took advantage of some frailties on the other side of the net. Capricorn there saying, I want Tsitsipas, Alcaraz, or Kecmanovic to win the Roland Garros. Yeah, I guess Alcaraz is your best bet. But it just goes to show how lopsided this draw is. I'm all for the draw. I'm all for how it is. But anyway, son of Robin there. Djokovic comes back from 2-set stand to be Vince Roland Garros. Tsitsipas does the same. Yeah. Okay, Ben. Thanks for that. Looking forward to some other wise words shortly. Looking forward to that. Can't wait, actually. Looking forward to it. That's all I'll say. We'll move on. Let's have a quick look at some tweets because I've already spoken about these guys enough. We've already had a little thought about Riley Opelka. Oh, Roland Garros, Paris, France. A legend bowed out of the sport today. And his name was Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. I hope you guys can see this. If nothing else, this is him just saying goodbye to the crowd after a stellar. Am I getting over the top there? Am I going too much on an almost stellar? Can you beat almost stellar? Career of almost 20 years. That included, obviously, some legendary victories against Federer and Nadal. Unfortunately, didn't quite have that legendary victory against Djokovic in the Australian Open final. But was so close, so tantalizingly close to winning a Grand Slam. And in a way, and by the way, before I go into today's match, in a way, today's match did kind of encapsulate his career in so many ways. But get me know some thoughts on Tsonga. Put them in the live chat. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. And if you don't like Tsonga, you don't have to click like. You don't have to click subscribe. In fact, if you don't like me, you don't have to do the same either. But, it's all good. We're all here for the laugh and the cracks. But give me your thoughts on Tsonga in the chat, and I'll address those shortly. And I want to know what you think about Tsonga and his career. I'll come to that in a minute before anything else. But let's talk about the match. He wins the first set. There were break points galore, actually, in the first two sets. In fact, to be honest with you, throughout, Tsonga had chances to break Ruud. Also, let me know what you think about Ruud, his performance, and also how you think he's going to get on with the tournament. I think in a way, a bit like Tsitsipas, there has to be some doubts after today. But let's focus on Tsonga because he's certainly the man of the day. And even Ruud in his speech afterwards was very happy to give way to an unbelievable level of eulogies towards the outgoing Frenchman. But he could have won today. He could have won. He wins that super tight first set. The second set follows a similar path. There were chances to break on both sides, to be fair. Goes to the tiebreak. And then you're thinking, okay, Ruud's got this. And the thing is, at one set all, this is my thinking. Tell me what you think in the live chat. I'm thinking at one set all. If Tsonga can and does win this in 4 sets, why is he retiring? Also, at 2-1 down, as it goes into that 4th set, and Tsonga also breaks. He goes up 6-5. I mean, I had the tweet at the ready to say, wow, Ruud was 2 points from victory because he was 2 points away from winning at 6-5 or 5-all or 6-5, yes, something like that. Anyway, he was, or 5-4. He was 2 points from winning, and suddenly Tsonga broke. And boom, Tsonga's now serving it out, or not serving it out, but serving it to send it to a fifth set. But you could see the reason why Tsonga was retiring. He was struggling physically. He somehow managed to get a break up just at the end there. If he could have seen it through to a fifth set, it would have been amazing. But it also could have followed a similar path. I mean, we saw the tie break, which was 7-0 in Ruud's favor, I think. I mean, I guess the fifth set would have followed a similar path. But he was so close to that. And I think basically my thoughts at one set all end up manifesting themselves in that this is why he's retiring. His body cannot take it anymore. We've seen with, by the way, how the career of Juan Manuel Del Potro finished today, or this year, sorry, who actually had some nice words to mention about the immense career and many years shared on the court with Tsonga. And it was great to see him bow out in I think, a fairly glorious way. And it's great if Del Potro to say that. There were many other people as well. I watched the whole bunch of videos. I saw Rafa Nadal, Djokovic, all very happy to share the court with Tsonga. Of course, some of them shared it. Nadal famously in the semi-final of the Australian Open in defeat. Another guy shared it in defeat, of course, at the quarterfinals of Wimbledon in, checks notes, 2011, maybe, was Roger Federer, who also said, "Congrats, Joe Willie, on an epic career. It was a pleasure to share the court with you. So many great memories." And also Federer during his eulogy, or at least on the coverage. I mean, they really organized that pretty well. I mean, Tsonga finishes, Andy Murray's there giving a nice little thing, and many other players, including Federer. And I'm thinking, I guess they had this ready. I guess they had this ready for the end of the match. I mean, some of the players, of course, were in the midst of a tournament, or at least in the midst of preparing for their second round. There were all the French players, or many of the French players, including Gasquet, who'd recently come off the court after a victory today, come rushing on the court, including Gael Monfils, who's not even in the tournament because he's injured, by the way, although he ran on the court seemingly carefree. And even Benoit Paire. Sometimes it's difficult to get Benoit Paire out of his chair, never mind on a court, was racing on the court today to congratulate his countrymen on an amazing career. Let me know if you feel as well like I do that it's a bit of a pity he couldn't have quite got over the line and won a slam himself. JG there saying Tsonga played in the toughest era for tennis. He bows out a legend. Yeah, I think that's fair. Tough era. I mean, if you're getting through, third and fourth, that's why you've got to do a Cilic. That's why when the opportunity presents itself, like it did for Cilic that year, like it did arguably for Dominic Thiem that year, you've got to take it. And Thiem took it, and Zverev didn't. Jared there saying, when I think of Tsonga, I think of his dive volleys. Yeah, especially at Wimbledon. I love it as well. I think it might have been the match when he beats Federer that year, when he's running around the court and he's celebrating as though he scored a goal. It's great. Jared there also with a great question, and I'll put this out to the audience. What was his best surface? I mean, there's an argument to say he was a pretty good all-rounder, but perhaps it's better to be a specialist. Capricorn, Tsonga was born in 1985, like Stan Wawrinka. Stan has 3 Grand Slam titles, defeating Nadal and Djokovic in the finals. Don't give me that toughest era thing. Yeah, that's a fair comment. But it's tough. It's tough. And therefore, maybe we should give Wawrinka even more credit and Murray even more credit than we do. Murray in particular, I think. Okay, so we've done Tsonga. Ruud, by the way, give me some thoughts on Ruud. Let me know how you think his tournament's going to progress. I've got my doubts, but that half of the draw is so lopsided. But let's don a cap to Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. And may you have an enjoyable rest of your career, whatever that career may be. However, talking of caps, Jared Gonzalez says, let's talk about Patrick Mouratoglou. I have the hat all at the ready. Brings me to Simona Halep, who, and to some extent, Tsitsipas, who, is also under the same umbrella, if you like. Here's the man. Here he is. Little Mouratoglou, the man they call the genius of tennis. Well, listen, let's talk about this. Let's talk about Halep first of all. Halep is in the first round at a Grand Slam that she's won under a previous coach. She's also been back on the tour for quite some time. She's also an incredibly talented player. And yet, under the guidance of Mouratoglou, she seems to be regressing. Today, she almost got bageled by a lucky loser. I mean, we're not talking about a first round against someone who's just slipped outside the top 32, or a former world number one, or a former Grand Slam champion, or a potential Grand Slam champion. She's up against a lucky loser, and she almost got bageled. And I don't think that's down to her. And I found I just find the whole thing a bit bizarre. I find she's reading notes between games and stuff as though we're talking about some kind of incredible guru who's reinvented tennis. So some kind of individual that's going to give her a note and recreate the game, almost like William Webb Ellis when he picked up a football and created rugby. Don't do the notes. It's not necessary. It doesn't help. It didn't help. It hasn't helped for the last 3 months. I don't see it helping in the next 3 months. Hey, listen, I will be on here in a couple of weeks from now if she gets to the final, and I don't even I want her to win the tournament. If she wins if she gets to the final, I'll come back on here and I'll eat my words, and many of them will begin with the letter M. But I have absolutely no doubt that won't be the case, because I don't see this big change. And by the way, and additionally, and this is how the media, if you like, the mass media, I mean, not the cool media, the mass media get kind of involved as well. I'm watching the build-up to the match, and 50% of the build-up is the Mouratoglou effect. Well, let's see the effect take place on the court, not off the court. That's all I'm saying. I have fears about Halep. I think she's probably erred on this occasion. She'll be fine. She'll come back, arguably with a different coach. But I think she pulled the trigger a little bit too early on Cahill, and perhaps jumped the gun a bit too much on Mouratoglou. Okay, let's have a quick look at the live chat. Kathy, I share your disdain for Patrick. He's a good complex because that's it. That's it. If you go, also looking at the Mouratoglou, what do you call it? The complex. There's just pictures of him. There's one of him kneeling down, talking to Pavlyuchenkova in 2009, I think, in a semi-final at Indian Wells, where he's talking to her, and you're just thinking, her career reached a peak like 13 years later or 12 years later when she got to the French Open final, long after she broke free of those shackles. And I just think that there are too many people under this spell. Hey, listen, maybe I'm wrong. He's a great coach, but there's dozens of great coaches. Raducanu has had about 3 or 4 great coaches, but she can't. There's a difference between a great coach and a person who makes the difference. And I think Mouratoglou paints himself as being this person who makes the difference. I don't think he does. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know in the live chat. We'll move on. Vim, they're talking about how Musetti can do better. Let me know about some other matches today, by the way. Of course, we had Medvedev winning comfortably in straight sets. Is Medvedev getting it on clay? Probably not. His opponents today seemed to have one leg for half the match. I mean, his heavily bandaged leg was barely moving around in the third set. I see Medvedev's tournament going a bit like last year. I see it probably gathering some momentum. He could get caught out by a clay court specialist or just simply come a cropper when he comes up against a really top clay court player like a Tsitsipas or like a Ruud. But that half of the draw is so light that he may well end up going quite far. And hey, listen, it was fun. And he seemed to be having fun today. The pressure does seem to be off, and given what happened to him in Australia, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Yes, bringing me to Holger Rune against Shapovalov, which, by the way, I got this wrong. I said Shapo would win. Holger Rune won, and deservedly so, and the 19-year-old progresses to the second round. This is Rune's second top 20 win after he defeated Zverev, and first at a slam. Nice for him. Disaster for Shapovalov, who 53 unforced errors. We know that Shapovalov can do that, but it does bring into question about Shapovalov's coaching decisions. You know, he ditched Jamie Delgado. You thought I was going to forget, didn't you? And I sort of had, but it was just floating around, almost like a Mouratoglou hat in the back of my mind. Jamie Delgado ditched him. I thought it was a bit premature to do so. You know, give a guy more than a few months, but he ditched him, and this is the result. Well, okay, get yourself sorted. But Chapo was fairly, what's the word? Sanguine, I think, in his press conference afterwards. He actually gave some comments that you would think would be from a top guy and a top winner, in terms of the fact that afterwards he was like, got to do better, got to learn from this, all that other stuff. In a way, that's slightly better than normally the bitter, sort of untwisted, and I feel cheated stuff that he has had in the past. But yeah, now's the time to start learning, because he's not a 19-year-old. He's a 14th seed. Arguably, he's a top 10 player in the world, or he certainly is potentially. He does play an aggressive game, so 53 unforced errors. Yeah, in 3 sets is quite a lot, as Tumaini Carriol points out from The Guardian. Fair enough. I was also very interested in his comments, though, about Wimbledon, because I don't agree with Shapo on everything, but I think he got a lot of things right. He highlighted 3 things in his press conference regarding Wimbledon, by the way. 1, the Russian and Belarusian players shouldn't be punished to the extent that they shouldn't be allowed to be playing at Wimbledon. I agree on that. We're not going to go into a deep dive on that because that's already been discussed before, and I'm more than happy to chat away from the Silk Report regarding that. But I do think largely that does seem to have been the wrong decision. But I also think the ATP and WTA decision to take away the points is a wrong decision, something that Shapovalov agrees with. The one final point that he made in his press conference, probably the only point that I disagreed with, was the fact that it now makes it an exhibition event. I don't see that. I still see it. We've seen Djokovic say it's all about the slams now. We've heard Nadal say, I'm probably not going to make world number 1 again, or not for a sustained period, because I'm not playing enough events. And these are not the golden coins that really matter to the top players, the goats of the game, if you like. And to some extent, even lower down. I mean, I'm sure Zverev wants to get world number 1 for a week or 2, or if not longer. I'm sure Medvedev would love to regain that position. But ultimately, they would desperately love to win a Grand Slam. Something a Dominic Thiem has done. Bless his heart. Can't wait to see him back at the top of the game again soon. Okay, anything I have missed? Let me know in the private chat, GTL guys, if I've missed anything. But in the meantime, I'm going to come to, please like the video. That's good. Kathy, nice of you. Slam race is the ultimate, Jamie. Yeah, I think you're right. The slam race is the ultimate. Let me know if I'm missing anything from the women's game today. I know Badosa won, but, she won. If she struggled like Halep, maybe a bit more of a talking point. Any other? Gasquet? Watched a bit of Gasquet today. I love watching Gasquet. I don't know how you feel about that, audience, but that backhand and the style and the je ne sais quoi. How's my French? Nowhere near the level of Gasquet's, that's for sure, nor is the backhand, by the way. But it was great to see him in a stop-start match prevail against Harris today. I was actually a bit worried for him, actually, because I thought the stop-start nature might disrupt his rhythm, but fine. Hey, John, don't you think you mentioned it yesterday, but Kontaveit losing, huge. Well, no, Simon, Kontaveit losing is huge, and it's not. She's one of these players that somehow disappears in the, what can we call this, sort of no man's land, if you like, of tennis, of some, there's players winning slams. There's players so close to winning slams, and also some players hitting the headlines. Some players that we think are headliner grabbers. Shapovalov, for example, is a great example of someone, and Zverev as well. Players that for one reason or another have never won a slam and are controversial, if you like. Former slam winners that are amazing but have just dropped for one reason or another, but big characters like Osaka. Others like Sabalenka have not won a slam, but they're sort of there or thereabouts, and there's some other issues going on. Kontaveit sort of falls in that no man's land of, I don't know. Is it fair to say that her, demise in this tournament wasn't a headline grab and therefore didn't make it in the Silk Report? Love the comment. She's made the Silk Report, albeit on day 3, long after she went out. But there we go. Let's have a look at some other ones. Please talk about Fernanda Contreras. No shout out from Roland Garros yet. Amazing win for a Grand Slam first timer. She's my newest favorite player. Can't wait to see her in round 2. Things with strings. 1 second. First of all, what do you think about my pronunciation, things with strings? Not of things with strings, I mean Fernanda Contreras. Not bad. Much better than Igor Swanchek, which I got picked up on yesterday. And by the way, completely justified. I'm still struggling with that. I need to go back to the drawing board with that. So anyway, listen, let's finish on some comments. I know we've got a big day of tennis tomorrow, including our good friends Djokovic and Nadal, who'll be playing. Nadal's on in the evening. Let me know if you've got any thoughts about his match in the evening. Obviously coming. Yeah, welcome back. Things with strings. Zoltan, thank you. Yeah, all good now. Yeah. Who knew? Who knew that these laptops needed a charge from time to time? Jamie there saying John's having a Tsitsipas sort of type break. Okay, I can share the screen, yeah, for sure. Let's see what's going on. Great. Okay. You're gonna send me something interesting. I suggest, by the way, we just go back to me talking. Hopefully that'll be fine. Yeah, Jamie, talking about predictions tomorrow. I don't think any crazy results are going to be happening tomorrow. I do see Nadal and Djokovic prevailing. Let me know about Raducanu, whether you think how she'll be getting on. Great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that particular screen. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. Someone is sharing that on my behalf, which is great, by the way, in terms of any results I might have missed off today. Unfortunately, I've lost that one. But yeah, is that Collins? She went through today, right? Yeah, in straight sets. Yeah, Carreño Busta. Yeah, okay. This is quite funny. It's like a director with a mouse. Yeah, okay. Carreño Busta. JG cannot stand Carreño Busta. Okay, let's get that out there. I mean, I'm not exactly breaking news on that one. JG can't stand him. I don't mind the boy. I think he's got an innocent sort of choir boy look. He managed to get back to 2 sets all today as well, which is an incredible situation. I was watching Tsitsipas at the same time. In that whole night match thing doesn't exist outside of Philippe Chatrier, although it really does on other courts. And when he was 2 sets to love down, I feared the worst. Gets it back to 2 sets all. Job done, you think. still goes out. Good day for his French opponent. Anything else you want to talk about, JG, in terms of today? Korda got on. He beat Millman in straight sets. Medvedev, yeah, I thought we'd already done that, but Medvedev is Medvedev, and it was a fun match, apart from the fact that his opponent had one leg. This is, by the way, quite a lot of fun. You can you can just circle any match, and I'll have. We've already done Halep, yeah, done that one. Sabalenka, yeah, seems to be emerging from the doldrums, I guess, after the we all know the double fault issue she had at the beginning of the season, losing the first set today. But there's still huge issues. I mean, that's the thing regarding the women's game right now. I mean, by the way, I reevaluate and readjust every few weeks on this, but there was a time when I was super excited and super thinking, wow, we've got Halep coming back. Wow, we've got Swiatek looking amazing. We've got Ash Barty at the top of the game. We've got Osaka, who's obviously got all the talent in the world. And that one reason or another, Kenin as well, and Muguruza and so on and so forth, for one reason or another, they've just all fallen away. And we've got one person left. And that person, by the way, is also playing amazing, and she's on her favorite surface. Okay, tomorrow. Felix, looked rubbish in the first round. Probably be okay next round. Cam Norrie's there as well. Zverev, our good friend Zverev against the Argentinian Baez. Molcan, Djokovic, yes. Let's just have a quick second about that. Molcan, of course. Molcan, of course, who's being coached by none other than Marian Vida, which is, a former coach of Novak Djokovic. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, given their relationships on and off the court. I think they're pretty good. I know I've heard some people suggest that the relationship between them is not so good anymore. Not sure there's any truth in that. Really pleased to see that happen. Schwartzman Munar, not so excited about that. I'm not saying it won't be a dramatic match, but not excited in terms of how it will be. Just before we get to Nadal Fognini, look at that one above. Look at that 3:00 preview one that says, no. Yeah, Korda, Gasquet, okay. Dimitrov, Coric. No, that's the one. Von der Samschluck, against Fognini. That could be an exciting one, though. I mean, you've got one fairly, I'm going to use the word again, sanguine character, very talented against anyone but in Fognini. That could be an exciting one, especially for the people who like a bit of controversy. But of course, tomorrow on the Game to Love podcast, we will be covering Moutet against Nadal in the evening, 7:45 in the UK, 8:45 Central European time. No clue what time it will be elsewhere. But let's have a quick look at the women's tomorrow as well. The women's tomorrow. Yay! So we've got Azarenka involved. She got a brief mention earlier. Yes. Raducanu will be on your screens again. I see Raducanu winning that. Raducanu, is that a question mark against Raducanu, JG, I feel some negative vibes via that cursor from JG regarding Raducanu. Yeah, look at it go skew whiff there. Exactly. But exciting. And listen, I'm on the Raducanu clay train, funny enough. I'm excited to see her progress far on clay. If she gets to the second week, be an amazing tournament for her. That's all I'm saying. Any more on the women's side that catch out? Yes. I know what JG is hinting at there with Sakkari, because, of course, I've got Sakkari A in the final, and B, I've got Sakkari ahead of JG's Ons Jabeur in the world rankings at the end of the year. By the way, people in the live chat, perfect timing. I've got Sakkari to finish above Ons Jabeur in the world rankings come the 31st of December 2022. JG has Ons Jabeur. What we don't have is the bet, the quantity, the punishment. In the live chat, I'd love to hear what you got to say regarding that. And in fact, I'll come to the live chat right now. In the meantime, think about what you think could be a great punishment or prize for JG regarding our bet, what we should do, what we have to do, what maybe we should pay, or how it could be. Because we want to make it interesting. We want to make it interesting for us, or we want to make it interesting for you. And by the way, I mean, what is JG going to have to do when Ons Jabeur finishes below Sakkari in the world rankings come the end of the year? Any more games tomorrow that you want to dwell on, JG? Or Fernandez? Yeah, I'm on Fernandez. I'm on the Fernandez train. Ooh, now that is a popcorn match. Bencic and Andreescu. By the way, anyone, you may have noticed, I think these are all UK times. 2:30, and of course it's provisional 2:30 UK time. Who knows what time it will be? 3:30 Central European time, or perhaps a bit later, but mid-afternoon, let's say, French Open time. Yeah, that's a great match, and arguably the tie of the second round on the women's side. Let's have a quick look. Jamie there saying Sakkari is too hot-headed for her liking. Adam Lee, thoughts on Gaston? Not much, other than the fact that let me know in the private chat, but I do believe that somebody on the GTL team predicted Gaston to do well, at least today. JG has to get a booster tattoo and Silk has to get a more. I like that, Jared. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a tattoo on the hat, but yeah. Let's see. Listen, if Halep gets to the final, isn't JG a West Ham fan and Millwall shirt? Yeah. Well, I think we're in a dodgy territory there, but I like your thinking, Simon. Ashley asking Andreescu or Bencic? I'll go Andreescu, but it's really 51-49. I'm only going Andreescu because she seems to be hitting a bit of a groove as she did in the third set in the first round. I think she bageled her opponent in the third set of that first round. I just think she's hitting a groove. But listen, I thought Osaka was hitting a smallish groove and she went out in the first round, so who knows? Any final comments? Listen, I tell you what, I'll address one or two questions, but please get your Tsonga points in. Get your Tsonga points in because I've not really fully done that. Get your Tsonga points in now. Get them in now while I just babble on for a couple of minutes about a couple of other things. Somebody saying that Raducanu will lose quite soon. Well, I guess she will. A bit like that person who says Swancheck will never lose. Well, she will someday. I look forward to hearing your analysis of Molcan's 5-set win, says Jared. Yeah, I look forward to that too. Let's finish, by the way, today, like we did with Tsonga's career, in a way, a little technical glitch, a few things that just prevent him from winning that Grand Slam. Let me know in the live chat. I can see exactly what you're saying. Let me know what you think about Tsonga. I'm waiting for your thoughts. Could you imagine John with a Mouratoglou tattoo? Well, let's see how that pans out. But yeah, if JJ loses a bet, he'll get Emma tattoo if John loses. Yes. Dreamt Tremesis. A bit too high risk there, I think, on both sides of the net, if you like. I think neither of us would quite engage on that bet. But please, let me know your thoughts on Tsonga because I'd like to close this before technology fails me once again. But what a career. What a guy as well. What an unbelievable career, but also charisma and fun and all encapsulated into today's match, but in so many other occasions. So many times he probably beat your favorite player, whether you be a Djokovic, a Federer, or Nadal fan. But in a way, looking back, don't you just wish that he could have just turned one of those into a Grand Slam win? I mean, I've thought about, thanks for the image there, yeah. I've thought about this a few times, that at least Andy Roddick got his Grand Slam win. At least Goran Ivanisevic managed to finally get that monkey off his back and get that Grand Slam win. You know, whether it be players that we've seen depart the sport in recent years and like Sammy Stosur as well on the women's side, at least they got that Grand Slam win. Juan Del Potro got the Grand Slam win. Tsonga, unfortunately, hasn't. And Jamie Jummer says there, by the way, Tsonga's been retired for a few years, to be fair. Should have made more Slam finals. Yeah, but actually, it just goes to show today, for at least 2 sets, The talent was there. The talent was there. And yeah, it's a pity. Temis is saying, can Tsonga be a coach? Very much so, if he wants to be. And I think sometimes there's a little bit about this guy, or individual, I should say, who didn't quite make it, as in not make it to the game, but make it to the absolute top echelons, who can maybe empathize with players that didn't. So there's no reason why he couldn't or shouldn't make a good coach. Ashley, this is nice from Ashley. I think we'll end on this. Tsonga beat the big three in their prime. That's an accomplishment in itself, but I still wish he got a Grand Slam. Ashley, those words are better than anything that I could come up with. And I think it would be a great way to finish the Silk Report on day 3 with that. Thanks for tuning in, and see you tomorrow. Yeah, great. Great. Anyway.
The Silk Report.